Welcome to another episode of Talking College Football. It's the late night edition on a Friday night. Typically, we don't go live on Fridays. We usually wait till Sunday. Luckily, we'll have a show on Sunday, but figured we had some free time tonight. Talk a little bit about everything. Open Q&A. Pitt's got people on campus tonight. Yesterday started, today and tomorrow. There's some pretty interesting names that I found out that I was told about. And again, each one of these guys has specific things about them and some pretty good offer sheets. Figure we go over some of those tonight. But also, as you can imagine, the house settlement, revenue sharing, conference realignment, everything's going on. And potentially maybe have some new guests come on the show here tonight and people you've seen in the past. So great conversations tonight. As you can imagine, down below, put in your comments, super chat buttons down below. We'll go over through a bunch of different Q&As here tonight. Plenty of different topics to begin with. So plenty of different things going on. Adam Vincic, hope to land one of the wide receivers from Texas. Any guess who you might think will commit? I got a couple names, but pretty funny is a lot of guys I've found out from Texas coming in here tonight, and we'll go over each one of them, the guys that I know that are here, and go over their offer sheets and what I think. But remember, super chat button down below, make a small donation to the podcast. Put your questions towards the top. But before we get into it, guys, you guys always know the show is sponsored by Thompson Law Group with Brian Thompson, an attorney on your side. Call them at 724-799-8404 or visit them at thompsonattorney.com. Again, you guys have met Brian during the season at the spring game. An easy guy to talk to, an incredible individual, has a great family, comes from a great family. But the best thing about Brian is he takes you individually and the issues that you have and makes sure he goes over everything to make sure that your issue that you have, he solves it. But he guarantees that he treats you as an individual, not a number. Unlike the bigger law firms that treat you as a number, Brian treats each and every individual case as a specialty. He'll guide you through the process throughout everything. And if he doesn't have the answer, he'll make sure he goes and gets the answer from another individual and gets you to the process and the result that you need. Again, Thompson Law Group with Brian Thompson. Call them at 724-799-8404 or visit them at thompsonattorney.com. Also, the show is sponsored by the K Collection. As you guys can imagine, again, I love the K Collection. Never was a coffee guy until now. Saves me a lot of money. But by Austin Kitchen, who is in the Seattle Mariners organization, again, the AK Espresso batches is personally my favorite. Something I use every morning before I go to work. I love it. Again, cool design, backward K, very cool individual design. Again, I've loved this thing. A very good one where all I need is really one every morning before I go to work. It gets me going. Again, the K Collection by Austin Kitchen, Mount Lebanon alum here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Coastal Carolina in the College World Series again. Austin won a national title on the 2016 team. Won a national title there. Now in professional baseball. Now creating a coffee brand, and it's pretty damn good. I got to admit, he got me on the coffee, and again, I love it. Again, over at www.thekingscraft.com, the K Collection. Make sure you go get yours today. Personally, me, this is my favorite. The Guatemala batch is pretty good too. Man, but this AK Espresso batch, this gets my stuff going in the morning. Make sure you go get it today. Another Wombat. Let's go in here tonight. A late night edition. Maybe get some people in here, some live shows, maybe even some guests. Talk West Virginia, the backyard brawl ending after this year. But before we get into that, it's a good one here tonight. We got some visitors on campus. And again, my handy dandy notebook here. The first one up, who I've confirmed 6 visitors here so far. What's crazy is you look at the list here, I've got 4 of them from Texas. The Texas recruits are coming in at a high volume, which has been pretty cool to watch. First one, Isaiah McMillan, 6'1", 175-pound cornerback out of Katy, Texas. Isaiah McMillan, his offers, just some of them out of Iowa, Kentucky, Arizona State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and Auburn. So a pretty good offer sheet out of there. We're looking to land some cornerbacks. Obviously, Pitt does a great job of developing corners. Archie Collins has done a phenomenal job. I like Isaiah McMillan. I'm going to dive more into the tape as I've got a lot of these names here today. I think he's a potential guy you could watch for as a potential commitment over the weekend, which is a really good thing. We add more to the defensive side of the football here. Again, Pitt right now has a top 25 class, currently sitting at number 24 in the 247 sports in the rankings for recruiting. Pitt has 15 commitments. I expect them to take at least 5 more commitments and move it up the charts as this goes on. Number 2, Desmond Johnson, 6'2", 200 pounds, an outside linebacker out of Miami, Florida. Got offers from UCF, Arkansas, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Louisville, amongst others. Again, when you look at Ryan Manilak, anytime he wants to take a linebacker, we've already got Isaiah Simmons, which is a tremendous addition. Number 1 linebacker in Virginia, who had offers from Virginia, Virginia Tech, Penn State, you can name it. A great person and a great linebacking prospect. Ryan Manilak's done a good job. Be really good to get Desmond Johnson. I'm not sure he'll commit this weekend, but out of Miami, Florida, anytime you get a Miami recruit, that's always good. Number 3, Landry Bredy, 6'5", 280-pound offensive lineman out of Mentor, Ohio. Really good offensive lineman. And look at this offer sheet. North Carolina, the Bill Belichick special. Bill Belichick has done a really good job of recruiting offensive linemen so far in this class, but in the transfer portal at North Carolina, we'll see how it translates onto the field. But North Carolina, Arkansas, Boston College, Cincinnati, amongst others. I like this guy. He's got 6'5", 280. He'll be able to play the tackle. I think there's another offensive lineman on campus. I didn't get the name yet, so I'm not going to mention it here, but I think it's more of a guard. He's on campus, but Landry Bredy, 6'5", 280 pounds, offensive lineman out of Mentor, Ohio. Again, great offer sheet again. Next up, number 4, Zachary Turner, 6'2", 215-pound wide receiver out of Duncanville, Texas. Zachary Turner. Look at this offer sheet. Oklahoma, SMU, Miami, Arizona State, Penn State, Auburn, Georgia, and Florida State. This is a damn good wide receiver. This is preferably the one that I'm looking at that I would love to land. I think Cade Bell and J.J. Lasser have done a damn good job. But you look at Texas, the name that continues to pop up as recruiting to find these guys is Jacob Bronowski, the tight end coach and the area recruiter of Texas, finds these guys, gets them to Cade Bell and J.J. Lasser, gets them to look at them, and then finally gets them onto campus. So Jacob Bronowski has done a really good job working his tail off. And anybody I talk to talks about how he's just been busting his ass, and he's been a really good addition to this staff overall. Then you have, on top of that, number 5, Asen Theus. Now, this is kind of like the more prototypical. We've looked at a couple wide receivers on here, 6'2", 6'2". A guy we got commitment so far, a 4-star out of Georgia, a 6'5" guy. This is one that kind of fits into the mold of Cade Bell. You're probably going to think, well, the guy, Atheus Thomas, 5'9", 170-pound wide receiver out of Duncanville, Texas. Again, they're teammates. You're probably thinking, man, a 5'9" guy, why would we want that? Well, here's why. He's got offers out of Utah, TCU, Oregon State, Arizona, Auburn, Nebraska, Michigan State, you name it. Again, a great offer sheet, a guy who's been known for speed. The one thing about these guys, and it kind of reminds me just the way they're recruiting some of these guys at the wide receiver position, kind of reminds me like a West Virginia back in like 2004, 2005, 6, and 7, where you had Steve Slayton, you had guys like that. Plenty of guys that were not exactly big wide receivers, but guys that were smaller in stature, but had plenty of speed. These guys got plenty of speed, to say the least. Then an interesting one here that I was told about. Quarterback, Corey Daly, 6'6", 190 pounds, QB out of Sagun, Texas. And again, I don't really know some of these areas. We're not really recruiting to Texas very much, but we got a lot of guys coming in from Texas and got a lot of commitments. He actually has offers from, let's see here, Texas State, San Diego State, UTSA, and Tulane. People probably wondering, why are they looking at another quarterback? Again, this would be more of a traditional development style. A guy at that size, 6'6". He's a tremendous athlete. He's getting offers. I expect him to get more offers as the year goes on. But Pitt's trying to fill more of that quarterback room out. Again, Angelo Runda is going to be the premier quarterback in this class. I think Angelo is a tremendous athlete, a guy that's going to get more offers. I don't expect him to go anywhere. Again, out of Texas, he's going to be a future guy down the road who's going to be a quarterback here at Pitt. I think he does a great job in the pocket. He's got a really strong arm, very mobile. I think he's a premier quarterback in this class and the guy who's going to be the real focal point of this class. But you look at a guy like Corey Daly, you're trying to fill out more of that quarterback room. You're trying to grab more guys, especially potentially Eli Holstein goes to the NFL draft this year if he has another good year. You also got Mason Heinchel back there, which is already good right there. You get a 1-2 punch right there. Cole Gonzalez, quarterback, comes in from Western Carolina / Oklahoma, comes into the transfer. He's got 1 year left, and he's out the door. So I think right now they're looking to add more bodies in there, and potentially next year, maybe bring in a guy from the transfer portal who could potentially, bring in more competition. But Mason Heintra looks to be the future down the road too, because he continues to play at a high level. And look at this guy right here, Ryan Jacoby. Ryan Jacoby, obviously former offensive lineman at Pitt. JJ the GOAT. Nah, you're the man, brother. Miss you, brother. If you can remember, guys, Ryan Jacoby, man, starting left guard for the Pitt these past couple of years, just a titan inside there. Again, man, we're going to miss you this year. Obviously, I hope to get you back to some of those games. Hope to see you down the North Shore, meet up somewhere, man. But Ryan Jacoby, a true Pitt man. I mean, the guy's awesome. Love this guy. Busted his ass, never had complaints, only ever worked hard in the weight room, was a tremendous teammate, just really fills the identity of a Pitt guy. And man, gonna miss you, Ryan. Obviously, wish you were still on the football team, but wish you well and everything else. And that's a brother right there, man, and truly miss you, brother. But plenty of good recruits, to say the least, on this list coming up here, and plenty of different guys there. Let's go to the comments section here. So you got any more comments? Nothing there right now. Let's see here. So right now, those are the guys that I've really confirmed that are right now on campus as we speak. I think tremendous guys from top to bottom. I mean, you look at the offer sheets. I think we've done a really good job of looking at some of these guys. And again, if we go to, let me see if I can go to here. Go to our total commitment list. I'm going to use 247 because I'm kind of disappointed in Rivals, man. They've done a really bad job. Pitt commits. Really bad job just like rating some of these guys. I mean, they don't even have Dunbar rated. He's a 4-star wide receiver. Everyone kind of knows that. Yep, Jaden Dunbar. And again, just going over the full list here. 15 commitments so far. Jaden Dunbar out of Thomasville, Georgia, 4-star wide receiver. You guys have seen the great tape that he's put out. He's having a great time back in Georgia right now, putting up a great tape again. He shut down his recruitment. Isaiah Simmons, 6'1", 200 pounds, three-star athlete right now. Number one linebacker, was a 4-star on Rivals. He's an 89 on 247. He'll probably be a 4-star eventually here. Again, he's a tremendous athlete. This is a guy we're going to have to try to hold on to. Virginia Tech, Virginia, North Carolina, they're going to be very much on him. Plenty of different guys here. If you look at the offer sheet too, Duke will certainly be on him. But a really good linebacker. And you have Nicholas Howard, offensive tackle out of Pearland, Texas. 3-star on here. 4-star, he's going to be 80. He's a 4-star on Rivals, 89 rating here on 247. I think he'll potentially be a 4-star athlete. Again, a really good offer sheet out of him. Damon Ferguson, 4-star running back out of Milford Mill Academy in Maryland. Anytime you get an athlete out of Maryland, he's got a tremendous offer sheet. ESPN, top 300 athlete. Really good to have him on there. That's been really good overall. Right now, Pitt with the 23 overall class of 247. That's been fun to watch. Let's see here. Just so far, I think they've done a good job. Looking at some comments here on YouTube and Twitter. Excuse me, guys, here for a second. Looking at some of the comments here. Let's go here. Switching back here. Some other recruits, again, we talked about other commitments in this class. Reston Lehman, obviously Whitfield recruit out of Peters Township. Love to get him. 6'4", 230 pounds, 4-star athlete. Damn good player. Marcus Jennings, linebacker, 6'2". And so far we got 2 linebackers, potentially a third linebacker. When you look at right now who's on campus, Desmond Johnson, 6'2", 200 pounds. mean, they're just recruiting that position damn well. I mean, that's always fun to watch. Marcus Jennings out of Cass Tech, Detroit, Michigan. That's Archie Collins area. Anytime you get a football player out of Cass Tech, Terrence Enos was really good out of Cass Tech. Anytime you get a guy out of there is always good. Dylan Wester, wide receiver, 5'9", 160 pounds. Jaden Dunbar was 6'5". You love a bigger guy like that. Demetrius McCray, cornerback, 6 foot, 180 pounds. He'll be really good. Lincoln Hoke, defensive tackle, 6'2". He's going to be fun to watch. Son of Chris Hoke. Angelo Renda, of course. Another great one right here. The offensive tackle position, Wyatt Villarreal. Hope I'm pronouncing that name right. I think he's going to be a damn good guy. At 6'5", 226. He can potentially be a really good guy at the offensive tackle position. Really played the wide receiver, tight end position in college down in Texas. Very good athlete. I think he could play either one, to be quite honest with you. Michael, let's see here. What's the other one here? I'm sorry, Wyatt will be a tight end. I'm sorry. I think I had that on here yesterday too. Let's see here. Yeah, 3-star tight end, 6'5", 220 pounds. And again, he had offers at Cal, Arizona, Oregon State, South Florida, and others. He's going to be a damn good athlete. Again, when you're that big a size, it reminds me of like a Lucas Krull. You know, very athletic for his size. He's able to move down the football field. Watching his tape, I think he's going to be a damn good athlete at Pitt. Overall, I'm really excited for him. And anytime you get a guy out of Texas, very athletic, I think we could really start to develop a pipeline. And Jacob Bronowski's done a really good job. Really excited for Wyatt, and that's right here. I did have him as a tight end. Going to be a really good athlete. A guy who can really go up and catch the football. I think he's going to be really fun to watch at the tight end position. Let's see here. Then we have revenue sharing. Now, after talking about the entire class we have here, we also had revenue sharing, the house settlement go down. We talked about that last week, which was really fun to watch. I think it's going to be good for college football. I think potentially, really, they need a collective bargaining agreement, which kind of resulted into me talking about how Pitt needs a general manager. I don't care if they hire Doug Whaley full-time, but they need a guy in-house. Right now, Doug Whaley is working for Alliance 412. I think Pitt needs to make a hire like that to potentially bring them in-house. I think everybody else is doing that around the country. Revenue sharing, Pitt hasn't disclosed where it's coming from. I know they talked about it from a number of different articles from Alan Green talking about interviews, potentially bringing in university funds, which makes sense. Every other university is going to do it. That's going to be fun to watch. I expect Pitt to use really $12 to $14 million going towards football, and then divvying out money, especially to basketball. Obviously, Jeff Capel will certainly bring in cash there. Alliance 412 is not going away. They'll go through a clearinghouse. Plenty of different aspects there, but Pitt will certainly be involved. I think that's going to be a major factor. Chris Bickle has really talked about how they're going to be a major force when it comes to revenue sharing. That's going to be an interesting topic overall. Seeing more comments come in here. Guys, again, if you have any more questions or comments, make sure you throw them in there. We'll go over all them. Here we go. You pronounce like Villarreal. Ah, there we go. Thank you so much, John. Obviously, I can imagine this is probably his dad right here. We're excited to have you at Pitt coming up here from Texas. So it's going to be Wyatt Villarreal. So appreciate that. Thank you so much. Villarreal. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to say it like 10 times in a row to make sure I get that right. But, John, we are more than excited to have you up here, to bring you up here to the University of Pittsburgh. We got tremendous fans up here, great people. I can tell you right now, we're excited to have you guys up here. Jacob Bronowski obviously has talked very highly about Wyatt. You guys, tremendous people overall. We're excited to have you here. Thanks for your show. No problem, man. Just excited to bring you guys up here. Anytime someone commits to Pitt, we're always extremely excited. They're great people. Again, Villarreal. I'm going to remember that. Wyatt Villarreal. But we're excited to bring you guys up here. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially at the tight end position. You look at the Cade Bell offense, they certainly love to use the tight end. I think last year when you looked at between the two of them, between Jake Overman and Gavin Bartholomew, I think Gavin Bartholomew could have been used a little bit more, but being able to spread the wealth between Desmond Reed, Kanate Mumfield, Gavin Bartholomew, Jake Overman, plenty of different guys you have there as offensive weapons. Wyatt will certainly come up here. He'll be developed by some of the best, especially a guy like Jacob Bronowski, who's done a hell of a job in Texas. Very authentic individual, very high energy. Obviously you guys have met him, very high energy. He's top shelf. So extremely happy to get you guys up there. Make sure if you haven't done so, guys, make sure you follow John and everybody. Tremendous people. Make sure you follow Wyatt on Twitter as well. Go into a number of different things here. Let's see here. I might actually in the chat here. Might do some live callers here. Just put it in the chat here. If you guys want to hop onto the show, ask some questions live, you can certainly do that. Maybe do something like that. But so far, we got 100 people in here so far. If you have not done so, if you're over on X, head over to YouTube, subscribe, like the video. As you can imagine, too, head over to Facebook, follow Talking College Football at JJ Kitchen. We get to 100 followers. We'll be actually able to go live on YouTube and on Facebook as well, which will certainly be a lot of fun. Looking for more. Let's see here. Making sure, guys, obviously not making sure we don't have any potential commitments here late tonight. I don't think so. As we go on 10:53 p.m., I don't think we'll have any commitments at all. But let's see here. Let's see here. Looking for some other topics here that maybe I haven't talked about yet. Yeah, here's one. Maybe I can actually share my screen here with you guys. How many commitments do you think will happen this weekend? This is a more controlled group. I've obviously confirmed 6 guys on campus. I think there's definitely more. I think more controlled groups. I think maybe if and Adam, here's what's really funny. I said 2 last weekend, 9 overall for the month. Hell, they had 10 in one weekend. I'm going to say 1 to 2 commitments this weekend because it's less. The numbers are less people. I think that's really the biggest thing that you're going to see so far. I think another one that you're going to have to potentially look at is the factor of, with only so many guys, how many more are they going to be willing to take? I think they're definitely going to take another offensive lineman for sure, as you can tell. Wide receiver, they're still looking to add. Cornerback, linebacker. I think there's potentially some defensive linemen in here in this group as well. We'll see that. Let's see here. Share my screen. John Villarreal. Boom, got it right that time. Coach Bro is a Texas native from College Station, Texas. He's the real deal, and the guys love his energy. Love to hear this. And again, it's so cool to hear this and the positive talk and just overall how great these coaches are from coaches or other recruits and other parents' recruits. It's always cool to see this. I did not know that he was a Texas native. That's actually really cool. I did not know that. From College Station, Texas A&M area. Always cool. He's done a great job down there, and the players love his enthusiasm, his energy, which is always great to hear. We've seen some crazy videos out of fall camp, out of spring camp. He certainly does bring the energy. I think he punched a garbage can during the spring camp or during fall camp. Was pretty funny. But he's a guy just high level intensity, a younger guy, and I think. John, we actually talked about this last year when we were bringing on new guys to the staff that started last year. One of the things you'll see, it was really cool to bring on younger guys, much higher energy. Guys are enthusiastic. They're recruiting at a high level. Hail to Pitt. It was so cool to bring those guys on and just see younger guys jump on board with this staff. And I think it was kind of needed. You saw the age group wise. And again, it's not, to decipher guys, from different ages. I mean, hell, Pat Narduzzi in his late 50s, guys, high energy. Randy Bates is high energy. I mean, you would think a guy like him would be retired, but he loves football so much. The defensive coordinator at Pitt certainly has the energy, to say the least. It's always great to see that. Ryan Manilak has done a tremendous job at recruiting the linebacker position, other positions as well. Archie Collins, Corey Sanders, I'm honestly, he's a high-level guy. I'm kind of shocked he's not in the National Football League yet. I think potentially in a couple of years or even next year, he's potentially in the NFL. He's certainly gained a lot of interest, to say the least. But I'm going to share my screen with you guys here, if I can, actually. Let's go here. So really cool here. One of the questions I thought was pretty cool, walk-on red shirts. Why should Pitt fans be excited? And again, it brings up a whole nother level, and I think that this is actually a great topic to go over tonight. Why should they be excited? I mentioned here a number of different things. Returning production on both sides of the football, much needed depth and competition on both the O-line and D-line. We've talked about Kendall Stanley, Jeff Percy, Keith Guvia, 3 different offensive linemen that came in through the portal. I think they're going to be great additions. They're going to certainly battle it out on the offensive line. I think Jeff Percy will lock himself into that left tackle position. Kendall Stanley can certainly have the potential to really get after the left tackle or right tackle position. He can also play guard. I think Jackson Brown has taken that next step in his development at the offensive line position. I actually think he's going to start at left guard this year. He'll certainly be a fun guy to watch. I think he's taken his, and I think that you look at a lot of these guys, we talk about depth in the offensive line. You had those 3. Then you got B.J. Williams starting at right guard, Ryan Bayer starting at right tackles, Lyndon Cooper, who's going to be, again, taking that next level step in his development at the center position. He's done a good job this spring. He's gotten so much better just understanding the offense. He's always been a very athletic offensive lineman, especially for a guy with great footwork, very violent at the point of attack. He's going to be a lot better this year. But then you have guys backing them up. Isaiah Montgomery. Then you have guys like Caleb Holmes, former 4-star offensive lineman, getting more repetitions. You're looking at a guy like, Ryan Coretta, who's certainly done a better job at the center position. You've got Keith Guvia, who can play guard or center. Did a really good job during the spring game, showing off his physicality at the center position, a guy who can really bump in there real quick. And I think we've learned in the past, the center position is so important. Lyndon Cooper, we got to keep him healthy because you don't want to be rotating anybody in and out of the center position because it's so important to the function of the offense. And you want cohesion up front. We've had so many injuries the past couple of years. Last year, we didn't have a lot of depth on the offensive line, which really showed. This year, we've got really 8 or 9 guys that can really rotate in there and really guys who can go in and out, potentially back and forth, so which is always really good and fun to watch. But I think so far, if I had to guess the starting offensive line at this point, left tackle, I'd say Jeff Percy, left guard, Jackson Brown at center, Lyndon Cooper, right guard, B.J. Williams, and then at right tackle, Ryan Bayer. And then obviously backing them up, you've got Kendall Stanley, Keith Guvia, Caleb Holmes, Ryan Coretta, Isaiah Montgomery. That's 5 guys right there. You've got 10 guys who actually have experience moving back and forth on that offensive line, which is a major factor moving forward. But here, again, speed on the outside at wide receiver, running back. We've seen, Kateris Blue Hicks, wide receiver transfer from Louisville. Great speed. Saw it in the spring game. He's done a really good job. Kenny Johnson will be wide receiver number 1. He's back this year. I think he's got a potential to have a really big year and really take that next step and then head to the National Football League after this year. Then you look at a guy like Deuce Spann, wide receiver transfer, was going to be a starter last year at Florida State. Ends up getting hurt. It's the portal, comes to Pitt. I think if he stays healthy, he could potentially be a guy who can really make a difference this year. He'll be fun to watch. And then at the running back position, Desmond Reed, returning All-American, Jules Goff. Then you've got Jakirian Boozy Turner, true freshman coming into play running back. Derek Davis, if he can get healthy, a bigger back that can fluctuate in there. I just think overall they got enough speed at wide receiver and running back. And then year 2, the Cade Bell offense. But the massive factor, when it comes down to every year, and what makes a special year where like 2021 and 2022, you saw wins of 9+ wins. In 2021, you saw an ACC title. The players took advantage of it. The players did really well, but coaching was there. And, they still had dumb losses in 2021. Western Michigan was a dumb loss. It should have never happened. Still scored over 40-plus points in that game. Mark Whipple, Kenny Pickett, all those guys did a great job in that stratosphere. But overall, the coaching staff, Pat Narduzzi, needs to take that next step. He needs to be better in making decisions this year. Cade Bell needs to take that next step as an offensive coordinator this year. You want to see that defense be more consistent this year. You want to see the consistency from back-to-back years really start to develop. Pitt started 7-0 last year. You want to keep your quarterback healthy. Again, when he was healthy, Eli Holstein was 7-1 last year. You want to keep him healthy. The good thing right now going into this year, even though he's a true freshman, I think Mason Heinchel is going to be a damn good backup at the quarterback position. Certainly showed a lot of promise during the spring camp. Showed his great arm strength. A guy who can read defenses. Really picked up the offense very quickly. Fits this mold in this quarterback room that Cade Bell is looking to have. But at the end of the day, you got to seize the moment. You have to take advantage of opportunities. You can't lose to games to Virginia, Boston College. You can't lose to a team like North Carolina this year, who's got his first year. They've got a lot of talent coming in this year. We'll see what they do with Bill Belichick, but with the circus going on down there, you can't lose those games. You have to win the football games you're supposed to win. One of the games that I have as a win this year is West Virginia because of the absolute turnover in year one of a new team, a new coaching staff. Rich Rod's back down at West Virginia and Morgantown. The last year until 2029 of the backyard brawl. There's really no reason for Pitt to lose that football game because of how many new guys they have on that roster down there. I think their expectations are a little bit higher than what they should be down there at this time of year for what they're having. They've struggled on defense in the spring camp. The offensive line has not done a good job down there from coaches and people that I've talked to. They got to be better, and they got to make sure they win those football games. Duquesne, number 1, win. Central Michigan, number 1, win. You beat a team like West Virginia, you're 3-0, and then automatically you go into conference play, I think, which is the first game, Louisville. You got to win those football games. You have to win these football games to be aggressive and get after it. The days of losing to some of these teams just can't happen. And a lot of that has to do with Pat Narduzzi. Pat Narduzzi needs to get better at game day situations. I don't want to see third down and long and a timeout. Do not give the offense more time to plan for a play. Make sure you keep them on the field. Because every time we call a timeout, it's almost like 3rd and 15, and they make sure they throw it down the field and they make big plays. It just can't happen. I think that this year, it just comes down to every year, the coaching needs to be better and game day decisions need to be better. Guys need to stay healthy this year. Game day coaching, 1. Guys need to stay healthy. Number 2, protect your quarterback. I mean, Eli Holstein was bludgeoned last year. I watched the game tape again. You probably saw the highlights that I posted on X from the Clemson game. Nate Yarnell. I mean, he was a tough son of a bitch, man. I mean, that guy got absolutely demolished and killed in the Clemson game because we had so many injuries up front. Still threw for 350 yards against that Clemson defense. Should have won that game if the defense was able to hold on to that last drive. Things have to change if you want to have special years. To have those games and those wins every year where you have 10-plus wins, 9-plus wins, you got to be able to close out those games. And this year, Pitt's got a tough schedule. Miami, Notre Dame, the backyard brawl's always tough. You've got Boston College rising through the ranks, Louisville on this schedule, Florida State on this schedule. To win these football games, you need to be all in. You need to prepare on a daily, day in, day out basis. You got to get after it and practice every single week. There's no guaranteed wins in college football. Any given week, you can lose a game. And I think after that first loss last year to SMU, it's almost like, I watched the tape, guys on the starting lineup quit. That can't happen. That's inexcusable, unacceptable in this level of college football where guys are being paid as well. It just can't happen. Guys need to perform at a high level and prove it on a day in, day out basis. Let's see here. Also, another one. This is a really good one here. Preferably, I'd like a 40, 45,000 seat stadium. But, man, look at USF, man. Look at USF in this arena here they got here. Very cool design. It's a little bit, obviously, a smaller stadium at 35,000. Look, it's the same thing as like a Northwestern, but very cool design. Again, I've been adamant about Pitt in 2026, 2027, making an announcement about doing their own thing, building a stadium. Hillraiser Nation reposted this stream. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Again, if you're over on X, head over to YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, share this on Facebook, on X. Appreciate you guys as always. But pretty cool design there from USF. That's a pretty cool stadium. Again, if you guys don't know, USF is up in Tampa. They play in the Tampa Bay Buccaneer Stadium. As you can imagine, they're not a P4 team. They struggle to get people in there. Again, Acrisure Stadium, I think, is too big for Pitt, as you can imagine. Pitt in good years is averaging 55,000 to 60,000 when they're up and leveled. Heck, last year we had 58,000, 60,000 at the Clemson game. Multiple people coming into those football games. Obviously, you sell out for the Notre Dame, West Virginia games and whatnot. But I expect Pitt, from the conversations from Alan Green, Joan Gable, they called it a necessity for Pitt to have their own place. I think the biggest problem that they're going through right now is just dealing with the Victory Heights situation, getting that stuff done. That is projected to be done in December, January of 2026. December 25 and into January of 2026. I got some people that are actually working on that site. They talk about it's a great facility. Whitfield basketball games, high school basketball games, nationals for wrestling are going to be in that building. So there's definitely a number of different ways. You can also have a number of people when it comes to concert venues, that kind of thing. You can have those in there as well. That'll be fun to have in there, but a number of different aspects. But very cool stadium design from USF. Let's see here. Appreciate you, Hellraiser Nation. Thank you so much. Let's see here. I was looking for some guests to come on potentially. Now I asked extremely late too, so that did not help. Let's see here. Obviously, Coastal Carolina. I'm a big Coastal Carolina baseball guy, so that was always fun to watch. Number of different topics here. Let's see here. See if we can get a guest on here from the SEC or the Big 12. Working my connections here right now. Let's see here. So while we're sitting here, though, if you guys have any questions, make sure you post them in here. I've also posted the link. You want to come on the show with a live call here. This is one of those times to come on. See if you want to get on a live call. We have over 100 people in the chat right now. Over 100 people watching the show. Make sure you like the show down below. It's free. Like the show, subscribe, share it. So if I can't get a guest on here, I may jump off for tonight. Let's see here. Let's see. Could probably share my screen here too with the number of commits here. Let's see if we can find some interesting topics here at all. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Sorry, guys, going through a number of different stuff here being sent to me from some people. All right. I don't see any more topics on here, though. Do you think Mason will push Eli for the QB1? Been a lot of chatter that Eli has been struggling. This is actually a really good question, Adam. So early on in camp, I would say, when you watched, for anybody that I talked to, Eli did struggle early on in camp. I think because one, he was out for so long. When you can imagine, one, he had an ankle injury that he was out for, had to recover from that, and then had concussion issues last year because he was hit so many times. I think early on, it took him a couple times to get back to normal because for how long he was off. But Mason, I mean, for the first 2 weeks, I think was the best quarterback. But then when you watched week 3 and week 4, Eli was back to being number 1. I think Mason will certainly push Eli to be better, to be that quarterback number 1. But I don't think that there's going to be any surprises unless something absolutely just collapses. Eli Holstein will be the starting quarterback come week 1 against the Duquesne Dukes. I don't expect there to be any changes. I think that Mason Heinchel, though, what he's done is prove that he can be that number two guy. Great thing is Cole Gonzalez is there, so you have 3 quarterbacks. That was one of my biggest concerns when Julian Duggar hit the portal. Was you watched how many quarterbacks Pitt used last year. You want to have more than 2 quarterbacks. I think right now Mason Heinchel and Cole Gonzalez will fight for that number 2 spot. I think as we go into fall camp, Mason Heinchel is going to be number 2 because he's certainly proven that. I think he's done a great job. He knows the offense. Cole Gonzalez knows his offense, but he doesn't. You have to get continuity down. So I think it's important for Mason Heinchel to be number 2 on the depth chart going into camp. Cole Gonzalez being number 3. We'll watch as that goes on. But I think that what it shows is Pitt really has 3 quarterbacks who can play, which is a really good thing. I think you need that from top to bottom. But I don't expect anything to be different there. I think quarterback number 1 is going to be Eli. I don't expect anything to change unless, again, there's something just crazy that happens where something collapses down the line that you have a question about. But I expect Eli to be number 1. Mason Heinchel to be number 2 going into camp, and Cole Gonzalez being number 3, and really being able to be those guys who can push Eli to be great every day because nothing's given. Every position's up for grabs. It doesn't matter who it is. Now, if Mason comes in and absolutely just dominates and is really proven to be the number 1 guy and there's issues or there's concerns about Eli, then there's the potential possibility it happens. But I think Eli really showed last year when he was healthy. He is a tremendous athlete. He's a great quarterback. I think he's shown it with his arm, showed it with decision making. You saw a couple games where he was unhealthy, and you saw a couple games where he struggled. You certainly had those moments, but I don't expect there to be anything crazy to happen where there's comments or concerns that something potentially could happen there. I don't think there would be a change, to be quite honest with you. That's just me. Let's see here. See here. Four-star running back Carson Baker committed to Florida. Wow, that's a good one for the SEC there. Let's see. Nothing going on there. What about wide receiver opposite of Kenny Johnson? What do you think it will be the second leading receiver? That's another good question, Adam. I think that when the number 2, I think that's truly up for grabs right now. And I think when you look at a guy like Raphael Poppy Williams, CJ Lee will be back. That's a really good thing. I think those 2 guys will be there. So I think really the top 3 are Kenny Johnson, Raphael Poppy Williams and CJ Lee. But I think Deuce Span's really pushing, and so is Katuris. Those two guys are brand new, coming in from the portal. Again, Deuce Span from Florida State. I think he's pushing for time. He was certainly looking really well during spring camp. Andy Jean was working his way up there if he would have stayed, but he ended up hitting the portal because I think it was just such a deep wide receiver room. I think Deuce Span's got a really good opportunity to produce to potentially be that number 2. But Raphael Poppy Williams, people were concerned about the drops last year. I found out that he had 2 torn ligaments in both thumbs. That will kind of affect you when you're catching the football. CJ Lee will be back 100% healthy from last year. But Blue Hicks, I think he's got a potential to be that number 2 guy. Deuce Span being that bigger wide receiver, I think he'll be on the other side, the outside, as a bigger wide receiver. I mean, he's 6'4", tremendous speed. He's a guy that I think could potentially be really, really good. He was going to be a starter last year, was in line to start at Florida State, ended up getting hurt in camp, missed the whole year. Now he's here at Pitt. He's got potential to be that guy. Blue Hicks, you saw in the spring game, I mean, he just flew by everybody. I mean, that was a hell of a display of speed, able to catch the football, very electric, a typical guy in this Cade Bell offense. But then again, Raphael Poppy Williams, CJ Lee, you saw Bryce Yates, a true freshman. He ended up doing a really good job in spring camp. I think there's going to be a lot of those guys. And I think that number 2 spot will be deciphered and really displayed during fall camp in the first 3 weeks. And then you'll watch in that first game against Duquesne who shows up. They'll run a number of different guys out there. Central Michigan, they'll run a number of different guys out there. And then week 3, you're going to Morgantown. You better have your shit figured out. And I think those first 2 games will really tell us who's going to be those really top 3, 4 wide receivers, and even potentially a 5th guy who could rotate in there. Got over 125 people in here in the show. Make sure you go over to YouTube, like the video down below, share this, get some more comments in here. Great comment, though, Adam. Sneaky Beaky Lamore. How are the DNs looking? I would say right now, when you look at the defensive end room, for me, you want to see more when it comes to fall camp and in the games. I've heard they've been doing very well. Jaden Moore, the 4-star defensive end transfer from Oregon, took off apparently. I mean, he's been extremely good in this defense. And compared to the Oregon defense where they were really running a 3-4, he was more of a stand-up outside linebacker. The guy's very good at pass rush. He was a pass rush specialist at Oregon. He's done a really good job of, in this defense where we run a 4-3, putting his hand in the dirt. He's done a really good job. The 2 starters I expect to go in the camp, Jimmy Scott, returning starter from last year. I think he'll be a really good guy in terms of his production from last year. Had 6.5 sacks, number 2 on the team last year. He'll be a starter on one end. I think Jaden Moore will be the other starter to back him up. Nate Temple's back. Blaine Spires did a really good job out of Utah State, a Youngstown kid, tough kid out of Youngstown. Then you have Joey Zielinski, Eastern Michigan, a big guy, 6'4", 6'5", almost 6'5". He did a good job learning this scheme so far. But when you're facing each other and you hear this kind of stuff, I mean, it's great. We hear this kind of stuff every single year, but you have to see it in camp. I think you have to see it in camp and what it looks like going forward. They can look, when you're facing each other, it's almost like, there's a day where the defense looks good and the offense looks bad. So it's kind of like, is that a good thing or bad thing? The offense looked bad and the defense looked good. Then you saw the next week that the offense looked good and the defense looked good. I mean, the defense looked bad. So you just start to have those questions. For me, I think and this will be a shocker to some people, I think what you're going to see is next year during spring camp, I think that most teams you'll probably watch and see. I think that there'll be more scrimmages against other universities. I think that they didn't happen this year between Syracuse and Colorado because the NCAA made a statement saying that not every other school had that opportunity as well, and it would have been unfair. Personally, I think they still should have allowed the game to happen. I think this coming year, we'll see a lot more games where Pitt will bring in a team that's not on the schedule, maybe a Robert Morris. You've got Youngstown State that won't be on the schedule. Maybe you bring them in for a scrimmage. Those are the games you want to see. I think that'll be a really enticing game. I mean, you have sales for the spring game. You'll get a lot more people. You'll see another team out there. That'll be really fun to watch overall. That's actually another topic to talk about. Potentially another team coming in for the spring game, which would be really good, I think, for Pitt to face somebody else. But the defense, I heard they look good, But then again, until you face another team, it's kind of hard to judge because you talk from some of these coaches and from some of the sources that tell you what they saw. You kind of have to see it in the game. That's really the biggest thing for me. Got 130 people in the chat. Hit the like button down below. Subscribe over on YouTube. And again, go over to Facebook, please. We're almost to 100 followers. We'll be able to live stream on Facebook when we reach 100 followers. Again, if everybody in here goes into Facebook, look up Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen on Facebook. Hit the follow button. We'll be over 100, and we'll be good to go. And we'll have plenty of people in there, and we'll be able to live stream over on Facebook. Okay. Let's see here. I don't see any more questions here. Should be nothing else going on. I don't see any more questions or super chats. Guys, we're about 50 minutes in. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen. I think we may do some more Friday night live streams, bring some guests on. Maybe even try to bring Carlo onto one of these shows. Maybe even try to bring him onto this Sunday if he's available. Talk about some Whitfield football. Talk about Pitt coming up this season. It'll be fun to bring on. So, again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen. Guys, as always and forever, hail to Pitt, hail to the ACC. I'll see you next time.